Disposable garments are the common barrier solution for protection from dirt, oil, grease, hazardous dry chemicals, and liquids. Flame-resistant garments, commonly called FR garments, and arc flash protective garments are purposely designed to afford maximum protection from the hazards they address, specifically flame and arc flash. Often, users will wear a disposable garment over the more expensive woven FR or arc flash garment in order to provide a barrier to hazards that the woven garments do not protect against, or to simply extend the life of the more expensive FR or arc flash protective garments. However, using ordinary disposable garments over FR or arc flash protective garments creates its own hazardous situation. NFPA 2113, Standard on Selection, Care, Use, and Maintenance of Flame-Resistant Garments for Protection of Industrial Personnel Against Flash Fire, specifies that your outermost garment must be flame-resistant. Standard disposable garments offer no protection from flame or arc flash and may even increase burn injury. Fortunately, disposable secondary FR protective garments have been developed to provide a protective barrier and extend the life of the expensive primary FR garment. These secondary FR garments can be used to comply with NFPA 2113. Lakeland's Pyrolon Plus 2 is designed specifically to meet this need. The barrier that a secondary disposable FR garment provides protection against, oil, grease, and other workplace substances, can actually increase worker protection while reducing laundering expenses and wear and tear on the primary garment. However, if the disposable garment that you have selected is not providing both true barrier and FR protection, you're not only wasting money, but may actually be exposing your workers to risk for increased injury. How can you know if the secondary FR disposable garment is giving you the protection you really need? The answer is in the garment test results, and that's where the true problem comes to light. In the absence of test methods designed specifically for secondary FR disposable products, many of our competitors claim compliance with NFPA 701. What does this claim really mean? Let's start by taking a look at the actual NFPA 701 standard. In the scope of the standard, it's clear that the standard applies to curtains and draperies, not protective clothing. Since there's no specific standard for FR disposable garments, let's take a look at a side-by-side comparison of disposable secondary FR materials and see what the results are. The NFPA 701 standard calls for a 45-second flame application. Remember, the NFPA 701 standard applies to the fabrics used in curtains and draperies. There is no current standard to apply to disposable FR clothing. With no applicable standard for protective clothing, products are being sold that can put workers at increased risk. Sample 1, the Chinese FR spun lace, and Sample 3, the FR SMS, continue to burn and melt as time passes. Lakeland's Pyrolon Plus 2 self-extinguishes. However, this test method only measures for the flammability characteristics of fabrics without consideration for the barrier they provide, how they may interact with primary FR fabrics, or the impact on the wearer, and therefore is not an appropriate test for disposable secondary FR garments. FR disposable garments should be evaluated in a method similar to which they will actually be worn in the workplace. Lakeland tests an entire ensemble using ISO 6530, commonly called the gutter test, to evaluate repellency of the ensemble. We begin by placing a sample of the secondary FR disposable garment over a sample of the primary FR woven garment, just as it would be used in the workplace. These swatches are then placed over white blotter paper, which is used to simulate the wearer's skin. To evaluate contamination of the ensemble by common liquids like lubricating oil, hydraulic fluid, or solvents that may be encountered in the workplace, we apply 10 milliliters of oil over a 10-second period, and then allow the ensemble samples to rest 60 seconds before subjecting the samples to vertical flammability testing. By accelerating the video, it's plain to see the difference and importance repellency makes as you watch the oil soak into Sample 1, the Chinese FR spun lace, and Sample 3, the FR SMS, while Lakeland's Pyrolon Plus 2 repels the oil. Keep in mind, if the secondary FR garment does not keep contaminants out, it's not doing its job of protecting the primary FR garment, nor the person wearing it. Removing the disposable secondary FR material samples reveals that the oil has penetrated to the primary FR material below. Removing the durable primary FR garment material reveals that the oil would penetrate to the wearer's skin. Now let's conduct vertical flammability testing using the same disposable secondary FR and the primary FR materials from the previous repellency test. Again, Lakeland tests these materials as they would be used in the workplace. The disposable secondary FR material is placed over the primary FR material and exposed to flame. Based on this testing, you can clearly see Pyrolon Plus 2 does not continue to burn, self-extinguishes, and prevents penetration by the flammable oil. The use of non-repellent materials in disposable secondary FR garments, such as in Sample 1, the Chinese FR spun lace, or the use of oil-absorbent materials, as in the case of Sample 3, the FR SMS, can lead to significant penetration by flammable materials, such as oil, grease, hydraulic fluid, paint, or solvents. These contaminants can compromise the thermal protection offered by the much more expensive primary FR protective garments. In these cases, the primary FR garments act as a wick that holds the flammable material close to the wearer while it burns to exhaustion. From these tests, you can draw several conclusions. The NFPA 701 standard is not applicable to protective clothing because it evaluates the disposable FR materials as standalone materials, which ignores their use in close proximity to other garments and to the wearer. Garments should be tested in the manner in which they will be worn, as disposable secondary FR garments over primary FR garments. Repellency is an important factor in the effectiveness of disposable secondary FR garments and should be the primary driver in the purchase decision. Garments should be tested against the hazards they protect against in the workplace, collectively, not separately. Disposable secondary FR garments, such as the Chinese FR spun lace or FR FMS, can allow flammable material to penetrate the primary FR garments and even the wearer's skin, resulting in increased injury to the wearer in the event of a flash fire. Lakeland's Pyrolon Plus 2 gives you the protection you need. Is the disposable secondary FR garment you're using providing the protection you and the wearer can rely on? For more information on disposable secondary FR garments, download Lakeland's informative brochure entitled Pyrolon Plus 2 versus Alternative FR Disposables.